arrested or charged with something, we administer a risk assessment instrument, which has been created with the help of very smart people from the University of Cincinnati and folks that have worked within our system and have a lot of experience. And it is a tool that we use first to determine whether or not this is a youth that should even be held in our juvenile detention center pending adjudication. Because what we've learned is, and I'll just give you this one shocking statistic, that the data says that one night of incarceration gives that child a 50% less likelihood of graduating from high school. One night. And so what we've learned is we really only want to hold those that we need to hold either for their own safety or for the public safety. And the rest we want to try to monitor another way. So that's the first test that gets administered. Fast forward to adjudication. A child's been adjudicated as a delinquent child for whatever charge it is. We do our assessment, and then we also rely on what we call the OYAS, the Ohio Youth Assessment Tool. And that also was created with the help of the folks from Cincinnati. And it does much of the same thing. It looks and it tries to evaluate risk of offending and you know, the type of crime and what kind of family support systems. And these are tools that we have had in effect now maybe 5 years, 6 years, would you say, full time? And we've already tweaked them as we go through. These are always things that we're gonna learn about. But those are the things that we rely on. We also sometimes have psychological evaluations as part of our assessment to try to help determine where we're gonna go. But those two tools are our primary tools for looking at first whether we're gonna hold preliminarily and then for placement afterwards.
I think that's really key, and I think another development that's really happened is before people would just have to guess by looking at the kid in front of them and the offense that they were in front of the judge for. Judges were literally guessing, right? Like, I have no idea if this kid will reoffend. And so what these objective assessments do is really try to take out that kind of gut feeling and really put it in terms of, you have a point system now. Do you fall above the line or below the line? And granted, there are some implicit bias things certainly still in these tests, but we're getting more objective decision making so that it's not a like, oh gosh, I have no idea. Now you can say, oh, this kid is low, medium, or high risk of reoffending, according to this research-based, evidence-based tool assessment that we do. So it's become much more of a science than a blind kind of throwing a dart at a board. And you know, a lot of that can override things like, so for example, the 16-year-old who looks 16, right, is a big kid, developmentally it looks 16, maybe even older, but brain-wise it's 5. And so what does that do if you're just looking at a kid, right, and you're not doing these assessments? It makes you think they should be acting like a 16-year-old, they should be driving like a 16-year-old. So those assessments have really helped suss out that underlying